Alrighty. Welcome back to Who Watches Us, the movie podcast where we watch the movies. But who watches us?
Who bloody watches us?
That's bloody right, man. I'm Alex.
I'm Brendan.
This is Who Watches Us. And we didn't just watch a movie, but we watched a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of a peek behind the curtain. We've had some interruptions. So we watched this movie, we took all our notes, and we took a 2 or 3 day break.
So if we leave out a piece, bits and bobs here and there.
Look, it was a week ago.
Leave something out. It's
yeah.
That's why.
I just checked the date on my notes. It was a week ago today. That's crazy.
Hey,
shit happens.
Shit happens. Oh, in bloody sink. Shit happens. Yeah, so we watched The Green Book, and also spoiler warning here. So, if you haven't seen it, go watch it if you don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, we watched The Green Book, and it is... who was it directed by? It was directed by Peter Farrelly, written by Nick Vallelonga, Brian Hayes Curry, and also Peter Farrelly, starring Viggo Mortensen. I'm not 100% how you say it, but I think it's Mahershala Ali, and Linda Cardellini.
Yeah, Linda's back.
Yeah, Linda's back. The hero of Daddy's Home 1 and 2.
Yeah, she's our first triple threat actor.
Oh yeah. So this is it's like a biography. It's based on a real story. Well, it pretty much is the true unfolding of what happened. I'm sure it's not exactly what happened, but it's trying to be as faithful as it can, I guess. I don't know what it's based off, but I think one of the writers is like the grandchild of the main character that Viggo Mortensen plays or something.
Yeah.
They share the same last name.
Either that or just, son of them.
Yeah. One of the two, something like that. But yeah, this came out in 2018. And, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Good movie.
Good movie. I love this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should probably go watch this movie and then come back. Yeah,
100%. I don't think we'll be able to do... There's just so much good writing and dialogue would probably be lost on us trying to just explain the plot. I feel like it's much better watched.
Yeah.
And you'll be more surprised at what happens if you don't know what happens here. But yeah. That said, we both really enjoyed this movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to decipher my notes.
Yeah, it's going to be quite cryptic.
Yeah.
I was having a quick read over, and I think I'd remember what happened. But I've also seen this movie a couple of times. This is your second time, right?
Yeah. I'm just having a bit of a browse right now, and it's there's a couple in here that are real stupid that I don't remember. But anyway, we'll get into it later.
So this will be our broken retelling of The Green Book.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
This was also my second watch of this movie.
But yeah, fucking. Are we doing ratings now, or are we doing it?
No, we're doing later.
After we'll do them after. Okay. Well, now that we got that out the way, how's your week been, mate?
It's been busy. Yeah, I've had a lot of just random shit to do. And I've been on the bit of a study grind lately.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that random shit just pops up. We're like, man,
Yeah.
gotta take care of this.
Take care of this, take care of that. Hey, you forget about it.
What do you forget about it? What do you gotta do?
Hey. Don't like the way you talk. You can go take a shit.
That's a great line. That's a great line from this movie. I don't like the way I talk. You could go take a shit. Such a funny way of trying to say it.
I think I might steal that, actually.
Go take a shit.
Instead of just telling people to fuck off, I'll just tell them to go take a shit.
It's like it carries the same message, but for some reason it's less harsh and just more funny.
Yeah.
But it's like way more vulgar for some reason.
It really paints a picture.
Yeah, alright. Well, yeah, I had a good week. Freaking just doing bits and bobs, eh?
Yeah.
Bits here, bobs there. Bobs
IRL
everywhere.
bits and bobs.
IRL bits and bobs, getting them done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try and fucking decipher the Da Vinci Code and figure out what happened in this movie.
Alright, I want to know what your first note is.
I said my first note is inspired by a true story.
My first note is
that's what
true story, bro.
Yeah, it opens up on a little card and it's like, this is a true story.
Yeah.
This is how this happened. Yeah, but then we're in like a jazz club. The Copa. And there's a guy singing. His voice is smooth as hell. He's got a real nice voice. And there's a guy called Mr. Lasciuto or Gio. And he gives his hat... Lascudo. And he gives his hat to like the coat room lady. He's like, don't lose this hat. My mother gave me this hat before she died. Yeah. And then...
he loves his hat.
Yeah, and then our main character comes up after he says to guard the hat with his life. With her life, sorry. And he says, give me the hat. Give me the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's like, I can't do that. It's like, just give me the hat. It's going to be all right.
Does he give her money?
Maybe?
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
I guess not. Because, yeah. This is all like a ploy to get money, right?
Pretty much. Get money, win favor with some higher ups, I guess.
Yeah.
People in his neighborhood coming to his club.
But like we're in the club, and some tough guys, some wise guys, they start arguing, and they
I wrote them down as wise guys too. Just said wise guys punch on.
I wrote tough guys, but yeah, wise guys was kind of just on the fly then.
Yeah,
but we're in sync.
In sync.
Yeah. They start having a brawl in the club, and Tony Lip, who's the main character, Viggo Mortensen, he goes over and he teaches them a lesson, because I think boss man that owns the club is like, fucking go deal with that, please.
Yeah, Tony Lip is he works security at the Copa.
Yeah.
And he calls him over, he goes, Tony Lip! And Tony Lip's he's like a fucking, he's a dog. He's like a trained dog. He just came and he's like, go outside. It's like, nah, and then he fucking punches him and takes him outside. And the whole time there's this like massive fight going on. The guy who just doesn't stop singing.
Yeah.
He's just singing through the whole thing. He hasn't even batted an eye, which I thought was cool.
It's probably just an everyday event for them, right?
Probably.
Yeah. But our guy Tony, he takes this wise guy outside, and he's teaching him a lesson, and this guy's like, oh, you know who I am? Like, you fucking bloody big boy. And he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, you're breaking the rules. There's rules here. And then
exactly.
This wise guy, he goes to box on, and he misses, and then Tony Lip just fucking absolutely beats the shit out of this man and almost kills him.
Yeah. Tony's got the fucking hands on it. He's got the hammers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, apparently that's that. That's taken care of.
Yep, that's all happening. And then our boy Lascudo is having a bit of a situation in the back.
His fucking hat's gone. Someone's pinched his hat, or something's happened to it.
Yep.
And he's bloody furious. But yeah, you see that he's mad about his hat being lost, and then you get a scene of the guys outside, Tony and these two other fellows he works with, and you see that there's a poster get being put up that the Copa, the club that he works at, is closing down for renovations.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys are kind of standing outside. They're kind of, is lamenting the right word? They're like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Liv's just like, I'll be right.
Yeah, and I think they were also like talking about like the events of the night, like, oh, you almost killed that guy. Whatever.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? He was out of line. He was out of line. Yeah, and then I think Lip drives the owner of the club home.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, he rocks up to this random like bar or whatever, and he's got the hat, and he returns the hat to Lascudo, and he's like, I heard you were you were pretty upset, so I went and looked for it, and I taught the guy a lesson. And now they are absolute best buds.
That's what I wrote too. They're best buds.
And Lascudo's like, oh, I can take some of this, and he starts trying to give him money. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's like, no, take the fucking money. And then our boy Lip, he's like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm taking this money.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do that, Mr. Lascudo. And he's like, please call me Gio. So they're on first name basis now. That's how tight they are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's on the good side.
He's on the good side, and he's going home with a little bit extra cash in his pocket.
Yeah,
and when he gets home,
it's just like a little bit of it's just, I like this bit because it was like a little bit of insight into Tony Lip and how he sort of makes his own destiny, and
he's very resourceful and crafty.
Yeah, and this
is the cards he's been dealt, and he just works with it.
Like if he sees like a situation that he can take advantage of, he will, but he'll do it in a way that's like not necessarily like breaking the law, but it's a little bit sort of frowned upon.
Yeah.
And this is sort of
bullshit artist.
Yeah, and this is backed up by it's like immediately reinforced when he drives home. He parks out the front of his house, but there's a hydrant out the front of his house. And to get just, work his way around that situation, he just puts a trash can over the fire hydrant. He's like, no, it's not there. It's just a fucking bin. It's like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much the exact same thing I was going to say, is you really get a good insight into Tony, who Tony is as a character.
Yeah.
And kind of what he does to make ends meet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But now
he fucking necks some milk when he gets inside. He loves milk.
This is okay. Because my next note is Milkhead, and I was like, I don't know what this means. What does this mean?
Milkhead. Yeah, he puts the milk to his head, and he does that thing where he licks it and kisses it. No, he doesn't actually, but
yeah, he's just cooling off. Yeah. He actually puts the milk on his head. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and he fucking necks that milk. He loves it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes and hops into bed with his wife.
Yep.
And, yeah, then they have a little smeep. It's later that day. And there's a couple of...
the next day, right?
Yeah, then... Oh, is it the next day? I just assumed it was later that day after he got some sleep.
Well, yeah. Like, you go to sleep and it's
the
next day.
But I thought he came home in the morning.
Did
he?
It's
still the same. Oh, I thought it was like early morning because it was kind of like,
Oh, it
you know,
might.
it's like kind of blue and light
yeah,
outside.
it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's irrelevant. Same shit. There's a couple of gabagools watching baseball in the lounge room.
Yeah, the boys came over.
Yeah, and what I got from this is that they woke Tony up. He's like, "What the hell are you guys doing out here?" And they're like, "We're keeping Dolores company." Dolores, which is Tony's wife.
Yep.
When the company, they're kind of just like watching over here because they've got two African American guys in the house doing works like plumbing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know they're just a bit
keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, keeping an eye on them.
Yeah,
being
but
a little bit.
Like the reason he woke up is because all these guys are screaming at the TV, like watching baseball or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they whinge about it in Italian. Like there's an older Italian man there, and he says it in Italian, that you know if it was his wife, he wouldn't have like black men come over and do the maintenance. Like he'd get Italian people to do the job. But there was no subtitles.
There's no subtitles. Brendan speak a little Italiano. So
I do.
He was able to translate that for me, which also honestly gave me a better understanding of the movie because I don't remember that part at all.
Yeah,
and
I might have mistranslated as well. So we might have like a unique version of the movie that no one else has.
That's true. Just like limited edition shit.
Because I don't speak it that well. But Tony, I think they bust his balls, and then eventually like Tony goes into the kitchen. I think he's always eating food. Tony loves food, so I think
he's a fucking greedy. He's a grizzle guts. Nom, 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 nom.
So I think he goes into the kitchen and he starts picking at some food or something like that. And then Dolores is like, "Stop fucking touching the food. Get out of here." And then maybe Dolores walks off. I might be getting some scenes mixed up. And then I
think you're right. I think you're on the right track.
So yeah, Dolores like walks out of the room, and Tony notices like the two like drinking glasses that the black men were drinking out of earlier, because Dolores was like giving them some like refreshments and stuff because they were doing like such a good job on everything. And she's just like she's just being accommodating.
Yeah, she kind of treats them with a bit of dignity.
Yeah, she does. She's not prejudiced.
You kind of get an insight into Dolores' character as well. She's very kind, very like just a normal person, no prejudice.
Yeah, and you get a bit of it's sort of the same for Tony as well. Like you get a bit of insight into like he's not exactly like he doesn't have a problem with it, but he still isn't like 100% comfortable because he notices the glasses, and then he sort of picks them up with like, you know, when you pick something up that you don't really want to touch, so like you're just barely kind of touching it. Picks it up and then
like it was dirty or something.
Yeah, picks them up and then puts the glasses like in the drinking glasses in the bin. So yeah, he's like a little bit of a flawed character. Like, you know, he's a little bit prejudiced himself. He's not as accepting as Dolores, but you know, he's not as seemingly not as bad as some of his like family members that just wouldn't accept it.
Yeah, if anything, maybe he's like a little ignorant. He's not like what's the word? He's not like a bigot, I guess. He's not like, starts with M, malicious. Doesn't really feel malicious, just feels like a bit uneducated.
Yeah, maybe he's just like uncomfortable. Like it's not necessarily making him angry or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyways, I think someone... Oh, yeah, they're saying grace now at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a bit of a time jump. And Dolores is like, if anyone hears about a job for Tony, let us know, because the Copa's closing down. And I think his dad busts his bowls in Italian some more.
That's what I wrote. I wrote, everyone busts Tony's balls at the table because he doesn't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
And he's chowing down. He's eating again.
I think it was there was like a joke about Tony beating people up. He just likes to beat people up. And they're like, that's Tony! What are you going to do with this guy? Am I right? Hey.
Yeah. And then bloody Dolores, she's in the kitchen. And the guys are like, squabbling and still eating food at the table, I think, like in the background. And she goes to throw something in the bin, and she sees that the drinking glasses are in the bin, and she gives a little bit of a like, disappointing sort of like look at it, and like realization that it was probably Tony that put it in there.
Yeah. So yeah, bit disappointing there. But then you get a scene. You're seeing the next day. The boys, Tony, his son, and I didn't get the other guy's name, but they're in a diner. Paulie. No, not the fat guy, not fat guy Paulie. The guy he's with. His homeboy. He's like,
I think it's his brother-in-law.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So yeah, they go to the freaking diner. He's like, Fat Paulie, I want to introduce you to Lip. And then he's like, is it true you ate 48 White Castle cheeseburgers? And he's like, I bet. Let's have a fucking eating battle right now. Fat Paulie lies about his weight.
Yeah.
To like, he's trying to play Tony Lip. Fat Paulie. Oh wait. There's just a scene about eating now.
They talk about how like Fat Paulie, he's got the he's the current like record holder for eating the most hot dogs, and they're gonna have like an eating competition, and like they're taking bets over it.
That's great.
So Fat Paulie he ate 18 hot dogs. And I think he was saying like, oh, I wasn't even hungry or something like that. But
I think it was, I think it wasn't, it's just like, why wasn't Lip in on that? And it's like, what? Like, because they thought it was a bet. It was like, that wasn't a bet. I was just hungry.
Yeah.
I think that was how it went.
Yeah. So Fat Paulie's like, we're going to eat hot dogs, and you got to have like toppings on the hot dogs, and whoever eats the most wins like $50 or whatever.
It was like a lot of money back then.
Yeah. And you cut to the next scene, and they're at the competition. It's just like a local competition or whatever, like not an official competition, but they're like chowing down on these hot dogs. They're going crazy.
Fat Paulie stuffing them down like an animal, but Lip's like, he looks like he's not doing so well. He's like eating slow.
Yeah.
And his brother-in-law is like, what are you doing? He's killing you.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing yourself. Look at your son. You're embarrassing him.
Yeah.
And then I think Lip goes home after that. And then he's very full and rubbing his big, full, fat belly. And then his wife is like, I think she mentioned something about dinner. And he's like, I'm not hungry. It's something about challenging Fat Paulie. He says that. And he's like, that guy's an animal. He ate 24 dogs. And she's like, you lost $50? And he's like, nah, please. I ate 26 dogs. Motherfucker is crazy.
Yeah. For some reason I wrote Linda. Just forgetting that her name's Dolores. But I wrote, Linda almost busted his balls.
Almost busted his balls.
Because money is tight. I don't know how they get to this next bit, but basically he like overhears that there's like a doctor that's looking for a driver, like for a job.
I think he gets a call. Pretty sure someone calls him.
Oh, okay.
he gets a phone call, and they offer him a driving job. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, so he's got to go for an interview at Carnegie Hall.
So he makes his way there. And he's a bit confused because he walks inside and it's a massive theater. He's like, have I got the wrong place? And the lady in the theater is like, nah, it's upstairs, man. The doctor lives upstairs. So he's like, whoa. He's like, what's going on here? This guy's probably pretty rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets upstairs and some very sassy, bossy Indian man tells him to fill out some paperwork while he waits.
Yeah, because he goes up and he's like, oh, what's your name? He's like, oh, Tony Lip. It's like, I don't have a Tony Lip on here. And he's like, trust me, I'm on there. And I think he taps the paper with his finger or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like very aggressively.
Yeah, he goes by Tony Lip, but his real name is Vallelonga.
Yeah, Tony Vallelonga.
Yeah,
so the guy's like, I have a Tony Vallelonga. And he's like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, and then fill it out while you wait.
So then after Tony fills it out, he enters the doctor's home and
the office.
He sits, the office. Sorry, and he kind of sits down while he waits for the doctor, and then the doctor comes out, and we're introduced to Dr. Donald Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of starts to break down the details of the job and what's gonna be, how it's gonna fly. What's going on?
Yeah, and to set the scene for this room, like it's a very open room, like full of like, you know, very expensive, like decorative things, very like exotic things. Like there's a literal throne in the middle of the room, and there's full on like elephant tusks and like little like like little antiquities and like all that kind of stuff, like displayed throughout this room.
Yeah, so the guy's like, he's very reserved, but he also seems a little eccentric.
Yeah.
He's got all this crazy shit. He's very well spoken.
Mm-hmm.
He is maybe a little uptight.
Yeah,
he's also, probably should mention this, he is also black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you get the feeling that Tony is like maybe like a little bit surprised, but you know, it also doesn't really faze him that much.
Money's
he's like,
money.
Yeah, he's like, I've got a job to do. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Only color he's concerned with is that green, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tony's all about his motherfucking paper, but it doesn't seem like it at first, because after Donald Shirley starts listing out some of the things that he'll have to be doing in this role, he's like, you gotta press my pants, you gotta get me here and there, you gotta basically be my little servant and like do my washing and make sure I've got all this stuff done for me. And he's like, I can't do that. I'm not gonna be a little butler.
Yeah, Tony Lip ain't no butler.
Yeah, he's like, you want someone to drive you places, get you from A to B? I can do that, but I can't do that.
And he's like, he also stresses that, you know, he can drive anything as well. And there's the two of them, you like, how am I going to phrase this? They don't really like hit it off straight away, because as you mentioned before, like the doctor is very well spoken, and Tony kind of struggles with a lot of these formal phrases, because you know it's not something that he's, you know, ever dealt with before. So a lot of the time when the doctor is like saying something, Tony's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then like kind of get the sense that the doctor gets a little bit frustrated when he has to like repeat himself and then explain like what it is that he means. But the entirety of the job is like, it's a American tour, like in the South, and it's like straight weeks all the way up until Christmas. And it's $100 a week, which is,
plus room and board.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Pretty good. You can't eat 26 hot dogs every day.
Yeah. But, when Tony's like, hesitating to like doing a lot of the butler job, the doctor begins to explain a little bit more that, it's maybe a little bit more related to protection because it is in the Deep South, like the American tour.
Yeah. He does mention that Tony's name came up more than once. Like, he's a guy that can get things done, and he definitely has a reputation.
Yeah. And Tony's trying to walk out at this point when the doctor's like giving this extra info. So Tony, he raises the price, I think, to like $125, and he's like, you're definitely going to have trouble in the Deep South, so you're going to need my help, and good luck getting anyone else in to do things that I can do, because he kind of sussed everybody that was out in the waiting room because they were all interviewing as well, and he's like, yeah, nah, these dudes, they ain't gonna cut it. And I think that's the end of the scene.
Pretty sure, yeah. After that, Tony goes to get a drink, and while he's at the bar, the bartender's like, this guy is asking for you. All the while, the bartender's trying to talk to Tony, and there's some guy yelling at the bartender. He's like, shut up! I remember you laughed at that bit. He just fucking yells at the patron.
Yeah.
That was kind of
funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Augie is out he's in the box, like in the back room, like a little, there's like a little, booth that's sort of been like, separated out from the rest of the bar with like a curtain.
Where wise guys go to talk about wise guy stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Keep it real low key. It's a very small box.
Yeah.
It's very intimate gathering, I'll say that.
Yeah, for 4 very large Italian men.
Yeah. But yeah. The guy starts talking to Tony about, the stuff that happened at the Copa the other night before it, goes down for renovations, about the flight. And he's like, look, this guy's a guy. And he just wanted to say some stuff. He wanted to do some stuff, but we took care of it. We squashed the beef. He was out of line. Can't be fighting in the club. Everybody knows that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also knows of Tony's position.
Yeah. He was part of the Charlie the Hands crew. And then, yeah, he sort of squashed it for him.
He knows Tony's out of work right now, so he's like, "What are you doing? You want to do some things for me and make some money?" He's like, "What kind of things?" And the guy just looks at him, and he just goes, "Things, things." He's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm flush right now. I'm good." And the guy's like, "All right, whatever." So yeah, he goes home and tells Dolores about his day, meeting the doctor and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think I've kind of got a bit of a gap here.
I liked the things.
Yeah, things. Yeah, that's it. That's also a great scene. The way he says that, there's some things.
Yeah,
some things.
Yeah. So Tony chats to Dolores about it over dinner, and he's stuffing his face again. They're sort of just casually talking about the job, but not going into a lot of detail. And then they go to sleep, they go to bed, and then they wake up in the morning to a call because they've got like the bedside tables, and it's Dr. Shirley, and he wants to speak with Dolores. And basically he's just double checking with Dolores if it's okay to steal Tony for 2 months, the 8 weeks leading up to Christmas. And Dolores is she's got like a mix of emotions in this scene, because she's happy that Tony's landing this job, and she's not going to have to worry about money leading up into Christmas, but also is pretty upset that Tony's going to be away for 8 weeks, and he didn't mention it at all. Like, this is how she finds out this information.
Yeah.
And Tony, he kind of knows he's in the shit a little bit, because after Dolores sort of like rolls over and is upset about it, he's like, I was gonna tell you it's 8 weeks. I'll be back in time for Christmas Eve.
Back for the time for the gabagool.
Yeah, he's like he's groveling like a little bit, but not too much, because he's Tony Lip.
He's bloody Tony Lip, mate. He's the best lip. He's the best bullshit artist this side of the city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He does the best bullshit. That's why they call him Tony Lip. But
Tony Lip.
Tony Lip. Yeah, so yeah, he takes the job.
He does.
Next morning, he's
or later that day.
Oh, later that day, yeah. He's goes to the thinger, and I don't know who it is. It's like the managers, I guess, of the thinger.
Yeah.
He's like, look, this is how it's gonna work. You're gonna get half now, half later. Don't miss any dates. All right, get him there. Make sure he's got a Steinway. I think they mentioned now.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure he's got this, and they give him the Green Book, which is what the movie's titled after. Basically, it's a handbook for Black Americans to travel the South and places to stay without being messed up by.
Yeah, it's.
What?
I mean, because a lot of accommodation, they don't allow black people or any differing ethnicities to stay in the same like establishment as white people. So, the book is just like a guide for just staying at the places that you will be accepted, that are like the sort of like black only motels and hotels and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah. So after that, he goes to say goodbye to the family, and he says goodbye to his lovely wife, his children, and his dad and stuff. Everyone's there. He's saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Dolores is like, if you don't come home by Christmas, don't come home at all, and write me some letters. Bye bye.
Yeah, she's got a mix of emotions here as well. Like, she's making sure he's got everything he needs, but also like busting his balls about getting back on time. Like,
yeah,
she's like, are you gonna take the iron? She's like, no, I'm not gonna take the iron. It's like, well, how are you gonna press your pants? He's like,
put them under the mattress.
Yeah, put them under the mattress.
He should have brought the iron.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. He pulls up to the theater or the jobs, wherever they are.
Yeah, to go pick up the doctor.
Yeah, he introduces himself to the band. Well, actually, they're a trio. You got Oleg, who does the cello, and you got George, who plays the bass.
Oh
yeah. They're not a band; they're a trio. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the doctor comes out, and he gets into the car.
He gets very comfortable in this
He
car.
gets very comfortable. His little, I think his name was Amit or Amir. I can't remember.
I thought it was Amin.
Amin? Possibly. But anyway, the sassy bossy Indian man comes and tucks him in with a blankie.
Sassy bossy.
Yeah, he is. He's so sassy and bossy. He gets tucked in real crisp black. It's very nicely. I mean, it looks super comfortable. But yeah. He makes the sassy bossy Indian man put the bags in the car because he keeps looking at him to do it.
Yeah, they have a stare down.
Yeah.
After Amin makes the doctor comfortable, like he stares at Tony and Tony stares at him, and the suitcases are all on the ground, and I think they stare at each other for like 10 seconds. It's like,
yeah,
I can do this all day, man.
Yeah, Tony's stubborn as a rock. He's a bloody...
Yeah.
He's just built different.
Oh,
But
yeah.
But
we
yeah.
get a road trip!
Oh my god, he just peed so hard.
Yeah, maybe for you, but I move away from the mic when I get loud, unlike you.
Road trip! I got pretty far away that time.
Yeah, was it still really loud in
It
the
definitely
waveform?
peaked. Yeah.
Mine actually stayed the same volume.
Oh man. Initially, it's like a huge spike.
Oh, for you,
yeah.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
well, peek behind the curtain again. I use 2 microphones for my setup. I have my recording microphone, and then I have my Discord microphone that I talk to you with. So it's always going to be loud, like extra loud for you, no matter like where I put my head. But for the actual recording, when I get loud, I move away, like back here, so it doesn't peak. Because that's what matters.
Yeah. I'm just raw dogging it. I got a headset and a microphone you gave me. I used to do it on like a gaming headset. And it was so bunk.
It was terrible.
It was terrible. It sounded like shit. I'm so sorry those first episodes.
It's alright. You've got my spare microphone. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, but like we were saying, Tony is built different. They hit the road, they're driving. He loves to eat, so he's just chowing down on the sanger his wife gave him.
Yeah.
He's going to town. The doctor starts giving him instructions. This is where he starts talking about the piano and the liquor. He's like, I need a bottle of this liquor in my room every night, and I need a Steinway to play on every time we go to a date. Like a concert. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and Tony sees this as a bit of a opportunity to like negotiate a little bit because, you know, Doc wants things, but he wants things as well. And it's like, oh, okay, can we leave early to get home like December 23rd, you know, just in time for Christmas Eve? And he's like, maybe. He's like, oh, you know, because I want to get home. And he's like, yeah, maybe. And then Doc gets a little bit, he gets his nose out of joint because Tony's always like smoking as well. I can't imagine what that tastes like. Like chowing down on this sandwich and having a smoke at the same time. Must taste like absolute asshole.
Probably, I don't know. The sandwich probably takes away the cigarette flavor.
Yeah.
But then the cigarette flavor probably takes away the sandwich flavor.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It can't be good. It can't be good.
It must be because he's fucking loving it.
Yeah, he's having a fucking great time. But, you know, he's pretty upset that it's like...
Yeah, he's busting his balls. Tony's getting his balls busted once again. He's like, whatever, man.
Yeah, he complies, but then he gets a little bit of payback.
Yeah. He eats the bloody doctor's sandwich that his wife made for the doctor.
Yeah.
Out of spite because he made him put out his cigarette.
Yeah.
Tony is just a fucking well-oiled machine that runs on sandwiches and cigarettes. All right. Yeah. And then Oleg and George pull up in the car beside them, and Oleg and Doc start talking in Russian. And then Tony, they stop talking, and Tony's like, German, huh? I know a little bit of German. And it's like, that was Russian. And he's like, yeah, I was stationed in Germany in the army. Yeah. Know a little bit of German.
Yeah, Alex liked this so much that he rewinded the movie to watch it again.
It was funny. It was a good scene.
Yeah, but Tony's doing a little bit too much talking. He kind of just rambles and goes on and on.
Yeah.
Doc wants a little bit of quiet time.
Yeah. She says, hey, Tony, How about some quiet time?
And Tony's like, yeah, you sound like just like Dolores. This is what Dolores says to me. And then he just starts fucking talking again.
Yeah. And then we're in another diner on the road. They're having some lunch. And Doc asks Tony how his food is. And Tony is like the funniest fucking guy, I swear to God. He just goes, salty. And the doctor's like, fuck, you should be a food critic, man, because you have such a way with words. But low-key, Tony's got a point. It's salty. What do you want me to say? It's salty. Anybody can make food taste good with salt. You got to make it taste good without the salt. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Tony knows his shit.
Oh yeah.
And he also knows that Pittsburgh, the place they're going to next,
it's got a reputation.
It's also known. It's got a reputation, also known as Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, holla.
That's absurd.
Yeah. He goes, that's absurd. Why would the breasts on women in Pittsburgh be any bigger than like New York or something like that? Man, it's great. Nah, cut that part because that's going to ruin the joke for someone who goes to watch the movie. They're going to be like, oh, I saw this part coming. So I'm going to cut that out.
But we told them to watch the movie. Like,
oh, yeah, we told them to watch the movie. That part's great. Never mind. Leave that in.
Yeah, editor, leave that in.
Editor me, leave that in. What are they talking about now? They're talking about Orpheus.
Yeah, they're talking about like a album or a book that the Doctor put out or something like that.
I think it was an album.
Yeah, and Tony's like, oh, I didn't know you were an orphan. He's like, what? It's like Orpheus.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be like a underworld thing. And he thought like all the like the people on
it's like a bunch of kids on the cover.
Yeah, he thought it was a bunch of kids, but he's like, those are the demons of the underworld.
Yeah, he's like, wow, those must have been some naughty kids.
Yeah, like, you know, they're just not connecting.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Just like you tell Tony one thing, you tell him it's not how it is, and he says, "Oh, okay, so it is how I think it is exactly."
Yeah, and you can't tell if he's just like
get through to this guy.
Yeah, or either that, or he's just like poking fun at it. Like,
yeah.
Either way, he's stubborn.
He's stubborn, but he's also hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for that scene.
Yeah.
There, back on the road, and Tony's got to take a whiz.
Yeah, he's got to pull over and take a whiz. And at first, Doc's like, "Do you have to?" Tony's like, "Oh, you want me to piss my pants?"
Yeah, it's like, "You're gonna do it right here."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, he's kind of dumbfounded someone just would pee in the open.
Yeah,
like an animal or something.
So he gets out of the car to go have his waz, and before he goes, he sort of rushes back into the car, and then he grabs his wallet and he sort of gives like a little bit of a, "Ooh, don't mind me."
Yeah.
And then
I noticed that as well. I don't think I'd noticed that before.
Yeah.
This time.
So
which I was like, oh, whoa.
It's like, is that still like a little bit of prejudice sort of, sneaking in there?
I mean, this guy's obviously rich, but you won't trust him around his wallet.
Yeah.
Just because he's black, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think we cut to a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it's like post show or before a show, but basically the two other boys in the trio, they're sitting by the pool at like a table, and they got a couple of women with them, and they're having a bit of laughs and having a good time with some bevies. And then like you're getting this view of them. It's like a down from like the balcony of a hotel room, and like Tony's the one that's like looking out, and then you pan up and you see that Doc is like sitting by himself in his hotel room on his balcony, like sort of drinking by himself, and he's sort of just like watching his friends like have a good time or whatever. And yeah, you definitely get a sense of like how Doc sort of like is a bit of a loner. He's sort of like a little bit more isolated. And it's either that he and I think I have a note about this later, but he sort of like goes off and does stuff by himself and doesn't partake, and it could be either because he isn't allowed to fit in because of the color of his skin, or that he doesn't want to fit in because he doesn't want to be like associated or that sort of thing.
Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable enough to try and fit in. You kind of get that sense that he doesn't fit in because maybe even if he wanted to try to fit in, he probably couldn't because of the color of his skin. So kind of I feel like obviously that's a very real thing holding him back, but I feel like he holds himself back sometimes as well. Like he'd rather, I think he's just very lonely.
Yeah, and I guess it's maybe a little bit of foreshadowing as well, because later on in the movie you do learn that he's also homosexual. So he, maybe he's not partaking in that sort of thing because he's not interested in women, and he can't exactly go out having a good time with like another man in like an overt sort of obvious way either. So yeah, could be a bit of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think after that, they're in the hotel lobby. Doc gives Tony some money. He says, you need to change the way you talk, and maybe change your name, because I don't think these white people are going to be able to say Bella Longa or read it.
Yeah.
And he's like, if they don't like the way I talk, they can go take a shit. Like the way I talk, go take a shit. Mm-hmm. The way he says it is so funny.
Yeah.
But
it's really good.
Yeah. It's like
Doc makes this suggestion, Tony Valley, as well, as like a nickname, like as an alternative. He's like, nah.
Tony Lip, or just, Tony Bella Longa. That's it. Just Tony being Tony. He's being stubborn again. And
yeah, and he's like giving them a bit of guff as well. He's like, oh, if they're so, rich and fancy and high and mighty, then they should be able to, say my name.
With all their speaking abilities and whatnot.
Which
is
so
also
smart.
Such a valid point.
And then he says, they said they can shove it up their ass and I'll wait outside.
So he's waiting outside. What? The doctor's inside. He's about to play, and there's a lady hyping him up, introducing him, kind of really bigging him up, and it kind of sets the stage for the people he's about to play to, but also us as, I guess, the audience or the viewer of how accomplished Don Shirley actually is.
Yeah, you sort of get like a there's like a cool sort of dichotomy here where like neither of them sort of fit into this class of people, like these rich higher class people, but it's just for different reasons, right? And the difference is that Doc seemingly wants to fit in, or at least that's how it sort of like appears from the outside, like he wants to play for these people, but he can't because of the color of his skin. And Tony could fit in with these people, but chooses not to. He would prefer to be himself and talk the way he wants to talk and be interested in the things that he's interested in, and he doesn't necessarily want to fit in with these people. He just wants to be himself, and he'll naturally sort of fit in with the people that are like him.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, it's interesting dichotomy where like there's I guess I guess it's kind of what they were doing here. Like this, yeah, what you were saying as well. You got Don inside. He's obviously a black man. He's kicking it with the high class. And you've got Tony outside, a white guy. He's kicking it with all the black people who just aren't allowed inside the building. And it comes up later, like actually right after that, Doc is like, they didn't have a choice to be out there, but you're out here. You could have been inside, but instead you're gambling and getting you. It could have given you the money because he was gambling and shit with them. And it's like, yeah, they don't have a choice to do that. You do. Be better. Wipe your knees off. You got fucking dirt on them, basically.
Yeah. It sort of just drives that home.
And you also find out that
I think
Tony's a cheater. He cheats in gambling. He cheats in gamble. He doesn't lose in gambling. He gives the.
He says I don't lose.
He gives the indication that he was cheating because he can't pull one over on Tony Lip. I feel like that's what he was trying to say. I guess it just kind of further solidifies his character as like the best bullshit artist of all time. He cheats and gets away with
I guess so. Yeah. I think the next scene is I think it's the letter to Dolores. And you like I'm pretty sure Tony's voice is like narrating it as he's writing it. You've seen this in a bunch of movies before, but he's talking about the Doctor and how much he does admire the Doctor, but at the same time he doesn't admire him. Like, you know, he admires that he's very like well educated and he's very talented and people love him, but at the same time he doesn't really envy being that smart, and you know he seems like he's pretty lonely. So you know there are aspects to the Doc that you know he wants to be like, but at the same time he doesn't.
He's like kind of recognizes the Doctor for his genius, but you know it's the same old thing as you know the lonely genius. It's lonely at the top kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's not all rainbows and sunshine and money and stuff, you know, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Doc asks, "Who's this playing on the radio?" Because he hears it. He goes, "Oh," and then he goes, "This is Little Richard," and then he's like, "Oh, this is Little Richard, huh?" And he's like, I think first Tony explains how he got his name, Tony Lip, even though his name is really not that. And it's because, you know, he's good at bullshitting. And the Doctor's a little bit confused, like, that's really something you're proud of? He's like, yeah, I'm the best bullshit artist.
Why was the tail end of that so high pitched? It was like, ooh.
I think Tony makes some remarks. He's just like, how do you not know, you know, Chubby Checker or Aretha Franklin or like Little Richard or anything? And then he kind of does the thing where he's like, these are your people. And you can tell the Doctor's not incredibly pleased by, you know, Tony's presumptions.
Yeah, but also like you get the sense that he's like maybe a little bit ashamed of it as well, that he doesn't like he had to be told by like a white man about black music, but yeah, not 100% sure. But they are bonding over the music, though. Like,
they're like, this is good. This is good stuff.
Yeah, Tony likes this music, and then you know Doc's hearing it for the first time, and he's enjoying it as well. He's like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah. They pull up to a little gas station on the side of the road. I think. Well,
like it's like a little pit
stop.
Yeah.
I think Tony goes to get something from inside, and while he does, he sees a rock. He sees a little jade stone. He's like, "Oh!" It fell out of the box and it was on the ground. So he picks it up.
Yeah, there's a bit of context.
Oh, sorry.
at this like pit stop area, there's like a massive stand that's filled with like colored rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like crystals and different rocks and stuff, and they're all for sale. And as he's walking past the stand, he spots a jade rock on the ground.
Yeah. Sees the little rock on the ground. He's like, whoa, if it's on the ground, it's just another rock, and I don't have to pay for it, so he stole it. And
Yeah.
I think Oleg snitches on him. Yeah,
He does.
And the doctor's like, Tony, before we leave, I need to talk to you about something. And he just fucking goes in on him. He's like, why'd you take that rock, Tony? I could have bought you the rock. It's like, I don't want you to buy me the rock. I didn't do anything wrong. Leave me alone.
Yeah, he just picked it up off the ground.
He's like, go back in and pay for it now. And he's like, nah. It's like, don't you dare start driving until you pay for that rock. And he's like, ah. So he goes in. Assume it. He may have paid for the rock. I don't know. He probably did.
Yeah, he like kind of storms. Like he gets out of the car and he storms off, and he like aggressively gestures to put the rock back. And then like comes back and he's like, you took all the fun out of it.
Yeah, he basically just throws like a little baby tantrum because he didn't let him steal. He's like, you took all the fun out of it. Ah. And then you get a new scene where they're at the next place they're going to play at.
Yeah, we're doing like a rehearsal on stage.
And Tony's inspecting the stage and inspects the piano, and it's just got fucking trash and shit all over it, and it's just fucked, and like it's not the right type of piano, it's not the right brand.
It's not a Steinway.
And as per Don fucking hell. As per Dr. Don Shirley's contract, he needs a bloody Steinway. So Tony's like, hey,
it's in the contract.
To this guy, he's like, hey, you gotta change this. He's like, what's wrong with this one? You're all set up. He's like, this isn't a Steinway. He's like, so? It's like, so I need you to get a Steinway, mate. He's like, I don't think there's even 2 Steinways in this freaking state. And he's like, well, you better move your ass then. He's like, man, what the fuck? It doesn't matter. He says something very racist. He said, these black people, but he didn't use black people, can play anything you put in front of them. And then Tony just beats the shit out of him. He just beats the shit out of him. He's like, go get the Steinway. And
he gives him like a open-handed across the face, like one of those real
like fucking hurt as well.
Yeah, one of those Bronx Tale slaps.
It looks like the type of slap that makes you want to cry, to be honest.
Yeah, the kind that just like deflates your ego to nothing. Because he calls Tony a greaseball as well. Because like Tony's arcing up at him because he's making these like racist remarks, and it's not a Steinway, and he's not like, you know, fulfilling the contract, contractual needs. And then he got fucking slapped so hard, and it was great. He really
got humbled. Yeah, Don fucking just absolutely whips out another banger. Fucking, he fingers those keys nice and good. Oh yeah. And Tony writes Dolores again. He tries to write her a letter. And I put a note here that Tony's letters look like my notes because they just chicken scratch and scribble. Like,
are we? Not to hype myself up, but are we the Doc and Tony? Because I'm always criticizing you and telling you how to do shit. You're like, oh yeah, sorry, but then you just like fucking laugh at the craziest shit.
Hey, what are you gonna do? They got
my forget about it.
Hey, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you know how to play instruments. I don't. Hey,
it's true.
Hey, I'm Tony Lip. I'm great at bullshitting.
But yeah, Doc notices the scratching and the just nonsense that he's got on the page, and the spelling errors and the crossed out words. And he's like, fucking, let me help.
Is that now?
And is that now? Oh no, he just notices.
Yeah, I think that's a bit later on.
Yeah, that was a bit of improv for me.
It's just psychic
Because
abilities.
I thought I just left.
That's for the future.
I thought I left the note out because I've got Doc notices the spelling errors and crossed out words, and then my next note is talking about the Doc's family.
Yeah. I think he just notices it. I don't think he says anything yet.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything yet.
Yeah, they start talking about the Doc's family. I think Tony asks him. He's like, I don't really have any family. It's just like I got a brother, but we don't really stay in touch. And I'm divorced, and he couldn't be traveling around the country playing piano all the time, and just couldn't be an entertainer and a husband. He had to pick one. He chose, doing entertainment, playing piano. But also, I don't think he really wants to be a husband. Let's be real. I mean, he's not. He swings for the other team.
Yeah, it might have been like a little bit of a like a scapegoat response for that sort of thing. Like, I'm sure there was a little bit of truth to it, but he couldn't keep it up, and maybe it was like helping him avoid that situation for a little while. Yeah, right. Maybe he had a wife and he was avoiding her and seeing guys on the road and stuff, or who knows. And then Tony gets real excited about something.
Oh yeah, this is a real deep and personal moment. And Tony goes, KFC in Kentucky. When's that ever gonna happen?
Yeah, get some KFC in K.
Yeah.
He's excited. Bro, I would be excited too. Like,
that's the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the real deal right there.
Yeah.
It's probably not any better than it is anywhere else, but
yeah.
It's like,
well, he said it's the best he's ever had.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
He also offers the doctor some.
Mm-hmm. And the doc's like, I've never had fried chicken. He's like, what are you talking about? And then he generalizes black people for a little bit.
Yeah, he initially doesn't believe it. It's like, there's no way you, a black guy, has not ever eaten fried chicken before.
Yeah.
So it kind of forces him to eat some.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor's very precious, and he doesn't like he's like, there's no napkin, there's no silverware. It's like, no, just eat it with your hands. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice moment where they actually just have a proper bonding moment. They're just laughing and talking and chilling over some fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's
and yeah, you go.
No, you go.
I liked this bit because like it was sort of like a sort of like shedding of prejudice as well. Like, Tony's learning that just because the doc is black doesn't mean that he is gonna love fried chicken or that he's ever had it before. And then Doc is learning that just because it's like finger food or like food that you use with your hands and it's really greasy doesn't mean that it's not good food. Like, they're both learning in this scene, and they're sort of just like, broadening their horizons a little bit. Like, it's a baby step because it's only fried chicken.
Yeah.
But they're bonding and they're learning together, and they're like growing as people, and they're sort of like growing out of their prejudice that they have for each other and for like, things that they think they know about each other. Yeah,
and then Tony ruins the moment by throwing rubbish out the window.
Yeah.
They're laughing and having a good time. It's because the doctor's asks, like, what do I do with the bones? Just like, just throw it out the window. And then they're laughing about it, and then Tony just throws his rubbish out the window. The doctor just goes deadpan. It's like, pick it up.
Oh yeah.
And then they
in the motel.
Yeah, at the motel, pull up to some. It's kind of dingy looking. Definitely a stark contrast to what you're used to seeing the doctor stay in. It's also a colored only place. Like, you can only go. Well, you can. I'm sure they don't really care if white people stay there, but it's for black people to stay in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where were we up to?
So there's like a parking lot at the motel, and
Yeah.
there's like all the other people that are staying at the motel are sort of like having a good time and sitting around, and they're playing ball, and they're like sitting at the table and just chatting. And Doc is also there, but he's kind of just sitting on like a singular chair outside of his motel room, and he's just sort of sitting and watching. Like he's doing the same thing that he was doing earlier with Oleg and George. And all the people there, they're like, hey man, you come join in, like, you know, pass the rock, because I think a ball like rolls over there or something. And they want him to join in, and he's like, nah, I'm good. He just wants to like drink his alcohol by himself.
Yeah, and then I think he makes up an excuse. He's just like, I've got to meet a friend.
Yeah.
And you get a cut to Tony, and he's eating a whole pizza folded in half, and he's reading the Green Book and just chilling in his hotel room.
Yeah.
As you know, as Tony does.
Yeah, this is when you get the reveal that he still has the rock as well. Like he sets it down on the side table.
This fucking guy. I love this guy. And
he's like, he's getting comfortable, and then he just whips out an entire pizza. And it's not sliced or anything. Like he just folds it, and he starts chowing down. Like it's a casual midnight snack.
Not just sliding out a whole fucking pizza. It's a huge fucking pizza too. It's actually comical how big it is.
It's so big, and like the bottom of it is so like dry as well. Like you can tell that it's like a traditional like wood-fired pizza or something like that. Like you know it. Like
where the fuck is he getting this pizza from?
I don't know. He's got connections, man. He's Tony Lip.
God.
Yeah, he's fucking living the life.
He really is.
Yeah, hopefully I took a note about some of this stuff later, but all of the things that Tony does, he like I think later on in the movie he talks about how like when he does something, he does it 100%. Like
yeah, like when you eat, when you laugh, when you freaking cry. That kind of mentality. Yeah,
and he loves to eat.
Oh yeah, he fucking loves eating.
Yeah, but then knock knock.
Who's there? I think it was George.
I don't know.
George is there.
Yeah, I think so.
He's like, Doc's in trouble. You gotta come with me. So he follows him. We're in a bar now, and you see Don being harassed by a couple of redneck white fellas. They're just being real racist.
Is that like a bar thing?
Yeah. I think it's like a sundown town, maybe. It's like you shouldn't have let him out after dark. That kind of stuff. Like there's
like
pretty much
shit.
They're really gonna hurt him. They've been fucking punching him and beating him up. And then Tony walks in. He's like, "Yo, leave him alone."
Yeah, and the doc's just like, "I just wanted to have a drink."
Yeah, it's quite sad actually. And he's like, yeah, leave him. Come on, just give him over. Pin him here. We'll have no problems. And he's like, we're not doing that. We're gonna keep playing around with him. And then Tony ups the fucking pole. He's like, he reaches back into like, you know, I guess behind his back, like he has a gun.
Is this the part where he's like, because I think one of the thugs pulls a knife. And then he's like, you're going to let him go and you're going to do it right now. Like he starts screaming like to get him to like hurry up and do as he says. And then the guy's like, you got to bloody say it nicely. He's like, I just did.
Yeah. Such a cool line.
But
I just told you nicely.
Yeah. And then, he reaches into his, into his back pocket and sort of like holds it there, sort of gestures as if he's got like a gun in his back pocket or like in the back of his waist belt or whatever. And he's like, whatever happens here, this guy right here is getting a bullet in the head, like no matter what, and like they, they're like, oh, he's bluffing, and then one of the guys is like, yeah, but what if he isn't? Like, no matter what, that guy getting shot in the head is like a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And then the bartender's like, yeah, all right. He's had enough. Get him out of here. He like whips out his shotgun.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want this happening at my bar.
Yeah, he's like, show's over. Get your friend.
Yeah. They leave, and Tony brings him back to his hotel, and the doctor's drunk as fuck, and he's like philosophizing, but in a really drunk way. And he's like, do you really have a gun? And Tony's like, no.
Yeah.
And
this time Tony gets to lecture Doc for once.
Yeah.
Like he starts giving him a lecture, and he's like, you don't go anywhere like without me, like especially at night, like you got to do as I say.
Yeah.
And then we got a show.
Then we got another show. Another show, and then on the way to another show. After that show, you can see like Tony and Doc in the car, and they're like doing like speech training. He's trying to show Tony how to like properly pronounce like words, and like 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 say butter, not butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, butter. Do you know that Buddy baked a bigger butter? I don't know how to say it. I've never said it before. But yeah, they're in the car, and the car breaks down, and
Tony's pretty resourceful.
Yeah.
He starts fixing the car. But it's in like the middle of nowhere, really, sorta.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of like farmland, and there's a lot of like black people working on the farm, and they a car stops. You're gonna look over, and then they all see Doc like in. I think he was in the car. Is that it? Or it might have been outside the car. I can't remember. But they see Doc, and they have like a bit of a moment where like they're staring at him in sort of disbelief, and I can't tell if they were like trying to. I'm having trouble like getting the right words.
Yeah, I get you. Loki, it feels like the doctor was fucking flexing on them. Like, he hopped out the whip in his fresh-ass suit, and he just, like, posted up against the car. It felt like a big flex. He looked like Loki was flexing on them. It's like... it felt wrong. That's a good way to put it. It felt wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember if, like, he got out of the car first before noticing the people on the farm. But, they all have this very surreal moment where they see, like, a white man finish, like, fixing the car and then, like, close the hood or the bonnet for all you bloody Aussies out there. And then he, like, opens the door for Doc, and Doc gets, like, in the car and they drive away. Like, it's a very stark sort of, like, juxtaposition of like where Doc is at, and then where these people are at in their lives. Like, yeah,
definitely. So they had another event, and it's like a party. They're like kind of like in the day. The doctor's gonna play. One thing I also noticed here is all the servants are black. Like all the butlers and waitresses, they're all black.
Yeah,
and like it's like a plantation house.
Yeah, it's so fucked up
It's really fucked up.
Like they're hosting this like at a full on like it looks like, and it probably was a plantation.
Oh, it definitely was. It's been. I think the guy said it's been in his family for like like if, like it was his great grandfather's or something.
Yeah.
It was definitely a plantation house.
Yeah. So fucked.
So fucked, man. And Supper gets I think does he get denied the use of the bathroom here? Is it
Not
no,
yet,
I think
not yet.
That's a different time.
So
Supper is real racist. They have fried chicken. That's why it happens.
Yeah, and even before that, they're outside of the plantation, like as they like arrive, and they have like a little bit of like those outside like lunch parties or whatever, and they're getting Tony's name wrong.
Yeah.
And then Tony, he loves food. He goes to eat some food, and he doesn't like the food.
He doesn't like the food.
The food is too bloody fancy. And then
it's too fancy.
Then we go to the dinner scene from there.
Yeah. And then after the dinner scene, because basically it's just like, we knew you were coming, Dr. Don Shirley, so we tried to make you feel at home. What would best represent? What would he like to eat? Fried chicken. Yes.
Yeah, they said they asked their staff.
Yeah. And then he's refused use of the bathroom. And then he's like, all right, well, if I can't use the bathroom here, I'm going to go back to my hotel, and then I'll come back and play. And the guy literally refuses to just let him use the bathroom. He's like, he tries to make him use an outhouse. It's like, it's just tradition, you're not allowed. Sorry.
Yeah, and
he's like, we'll wait.
Yeah, like he calls his bluff because it's going to take like half an hour to go and use the restroom and then come back.
Yeah.
Then he comes back and he finishes the show, and I kind of like skip over the argument in the car, like on the way to the motel, unless you got any notes there.
Yeah, I just wrote down that Doc didn't really like what he was saying, and I didn't really write down that argument either.
I think it's maybe there's a part in here that's important. Like they're squabbling a little bit, and then Tony points out that Doc says something that's like a little bit prejudiced towards white people, and he sort of like calls him on it. But I don't remember the specifics.
Yeah, I don't remember either, unfortunately. Yep. There's one thing we definitely forgot.
Yeah, but
yeah.
He finishes the show, and then Tony's talking to the boys about like, I don't know how he does it, like how he just does those shows, like because Tony's a very prideful person, and he would not do it out of spite. And Oleg reveals that he's not doing it out of necessity. He could get paid way more in the North to do these same shows for way nicer people. And he sort of just like does I think he has a cigarette, and I think does like a mic. No, he does a shot vodka, I think. Like has a mic drop and then walks away or some shit like that. Yeah.
He just fucking hits that shit once and drops it. He's like, he just made his point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Tony's writing another letter, of course.
Doc says it's shit.
Yeah, he says it's fucking pathetic. He says, this is pathetic, mate.
Yeah.
And Doc is like, let me help.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real good. It's a real good letter.
And Dolores loves it.
Yeah, she's bloody swooning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We're in another town. We're in a new town now.
We're in a new town.
Walking down the street.
I walked down Boys Talk Bowl Game. I think they're talking about baseball. It's talking about like, I can't remember who's talking about baseball, but someone's talking about baseball. I think it's Tony and Doc. I'm not sure. But they see a handsome suit, and they go, whoa, that's a handsome suit. And he's like, you want to try that on? is a bit, like the doctor's a bit hesitant at first, but probably because he knows he may not be obliged. But he's like, yeah, all right, let's go try it on. He's like, what size? He's like, this size.
He's like, do you have it in
then,
a 42 long or something like that? And he's like, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very like chipper about it. Like, you know, he's in customer service, so he's doing his job, and then he gets the suit and he brings it back to Tony, and Tony's like, thanks, and then he gives it to Doc, and you sort of see like the dude's face like sort of drops, and his whole like demeanor sort of changes.
Yeah, he's like, he's not allowed to. He's like, he's not allowed to wear that. Sorry. He's like, why? We're gonna buy it. It's like, he's not allowed. Store policy. Yeah. So Doc just walks out. He plays again.
Yeah.
And I feel like in this next scene, you can really. It's almost as like you can feel his frustration building more and more, as you can kind of see it reflected in the way he plays. Like he plays with a lot of gusto, but it seems a bit more angry almost. I don't know.
Yeah.
When he's playing now, could be just completely.
Yeah,
reading
definitely
into that way too much.
He hits those keys harder as he gets more and more frustrated. No, I definitely noticed that. And we get a late night call from the YMCA.
Oh, uh-oh.
Something's
going on. It's not so
on.
fun.
Yeah.
It's not so fun to stay at the YMCA anymore.
Yeah. Doc is he's at the YMCA and Tony's there to pick him up. But, you know, there's some cops there, and you get the reveal that Doc was there with another man. Like I think they're naked in the shower together or something, and they got cuffs on. And the cops, they're playing hard to get. They're
It sounds a little weird in this situation.
Because Tony's like, oh, you know, he was just let him go. He's got like a show or whatever. And I think, like, you know, their prejudice comes out, and it's like, yeah, we would, but, you know, not for him.
Yeah, he's gay and black.
Yeah,
that's like two crimes at once.
Yeah,
that's basically murder. You want us to look the other way?
Mm-hmm. And then Tony, he turns on the bullshitting to the extreme. Yeah. He starts working his bloody magic on these cops. And he's like, they're like, you trying to bribe us? And he's like, no. And then he continues to bribe them.
Yeah, it's like, nah, I'm just going to make a donation to you guys, to the police
doing
force.
Such a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got his, like, wad of cash or whatever. So, yeah, he gets Doc out of the situation, and Doc is... This is what humiliates him, not the situation before. Like, he's humiliated that Tony, like, bullshitted to get him out of the situation, and they squabble.
Yeah, he's upset that he feels as though the people that just did him wrong have been rewarded for their shitty behavior as well.
Yeah. And he's like, fucking, don't worry about it. Like, you got yourself into this situation. You weren't supposed to go off without me. And he's like, well, I didn't think you wanted to be there.
It's just, fair enough.
Yeah. So they don't really have like a resolution to this like squabbling and argument. Like they sort of just get back on the road and head to the next job.
Yeah. And they arrive at the next place. There's quite rapid fire between the things. Like sometimes you get some scenes of them in the road and like chatting or bonding or talking or whatever. Like there is a fair few amount of those scenes, but I really like how the pace goes. Like you just cut to the next thing.
Yeah,
pretty much.
We don't need to see the same song and dance like every time. Like going to each of these shows, like it justifiably only puts in new scenes like on the road when they're trying to, get a point across or or develop the plot a little bit more. But yeah, they arrive at I think it's like a hotel, and as they're going towards the entrance of the hotel, Tony Lip bumps into some friends.
Oh yeah.
And they speak Italian for a little bit. Basically, like they're chatting about how he's like working a job for like a black man at the moment, and then he's like, oh, why don't you, like, we can offer you a job, and you I think they said un sacco di soldi, which means like a sack of money, which just means like a bunch. It's like a lot of money for the jobs that they're gonna give him. And Doc is like nearby. He's kind of just like standing off to the side, waiting for them to finish talking so they can go into the hotel. And Tony's kind of like, yeah, no, I'm on the job right now. Like, I've got a job, but we'll meet up later.
I'm working here.
Yeah, I'm working here. And then we cut to, it's like later in the day, like probably the evening or something like that. The boys are at the bar, and Tony's just he's heading down to meet them at the bar. Like he's leaving his hotel room and he's closing the door. And Doc is there.
I think you missed a part. You missed just a small part. It's not a whole. It's nothing crazy, but you just see the Doc covering up his bruise with makeup, and he's like crying as well.
Yeah,
but that's just a small part before that. So yeah, continue.
Yeah, so bloody
Tony's on his way out.
Yeah, he's on his way down to meet the boys at the bar. He's like leaving his hotel room, and then Doc he's there, and he sort of like intercepts Tony, like as he's on his way out. It basically he opens the conversation by speaking in Italian. He's like well, we need to talk about something. Like he says, like devo parlare, or like parliamo, or something like that. And then he offers him like a promotion and a pay raise. And you kind of get the sense that Doc is like, he feels a little bit like insecure. In this moment, like he's trying to keep Tony around with money.
He might be a little desperate. He's like, I feel like he's had like a genuine connection with Tony now. Like they've actually had some time to get to know each other, and they've actually developed kind of like a friendship.
Yeah,
and I feel like he's desperately trying to hold on to that. The only way he knows how.
Yeah,
with money.
Exactly. Because it seems like all of his friends are like either like on the payroll or his like working partners.
Yeah.
But Tony refuses, and he's like, no, like we agreed on $125 plus expenses. And he's just going down to refuse the job offer. Like he's got a job. He doesn't want it. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
He's like, and then he starts to head down, and Doc calls out to him, and he's like, he apologizes for the night before, and Tony's like, don't worry about it. Like, I worked in a nightclub all my life. The world is a complicated place.
Yeah, which is honestly very understanding for Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just coming from a genuine place of understanding, which is just, just good to see.
Yeah.
Makes you like Tony more as a character. If you, you probably already love him by this point. You're just like, yeah, this guy's the fucking man.
He's very charismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Viggo Mortensen did such a fucking good job.
He really did. He really, really did.
Like, you just forget that it's Viggo.
You do. He
crazy.
Looks so different in this movie that I didn't even realize it was him.
Yeah.
Like, the first couple times I watched it.
Yeah, like, he's Aragorn. Like, It's nuts.
It's such a stark contrast. Like you got this like fucking cool hero guy.
Yeah.
He's all ripped and fucking epic, and then you've got fat, greasy Italian man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And he is so greasy. I made a note earlier, I forgot to point it out. He is so greasy throughout like most of this movie.
I think it's also hot. But
it's also hot. Yeah.
He eats a lot of greasy food.
He eats a lot of greasy food, and he just looks greasy.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Is that racist to say? Is that like an actual like thing that people say to put down Italians? Greasy?
Apparently it's not racist yet, but it's probably going to be like the next thing eventually. Like, I would assume that eventually, you know,
because that guy did call him a greaseball before, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like saying greaseball or wop or like that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I can't remember exactly what happens next. All I wrote down was applause, so I think there's people clapping. Might have just performed.
So we cut to like after Tony has seen his friends downstairs, and bloody Doc and Tony, they're talking in like a lobby in the hotel, and there's like classical music playing in the background, and they're just chatting about music in general, and a bit of like Doc backstory, like he's opening up about, you know, how his mother taught him how to play piano, and that he was really good, and he got like a scholarship and stuff, and he had dreams of like being the man on the piano, and was originally trained in classical music, but you know he's got his own music and stuff now that he writes, and Tony's like, oh, you know, what you do is special, like only he can play his music, like anyone can play classical music. And because before then Doc like lists a bunch of classical musicians that like he sort of like learned from, or like pieces that he's learned, and Tony like mispronounces Chopin or something like that. And he's like, oh, well, you've never heard me play Chopin.
Yeah, he's like anyone can play that. It's like, but only you can do what you do, you know.
Yeah,
it's like, well, thank you very much, but no one plays Chopin like me, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of bragging a little bit.
Yeah.
He was the first black guy to be accepted into that school on a scholarship as well.
Yeah. Like he was making history.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I didn't have any idea what was going on is because I had that page that I was looking at was actually like the last page.
We paused like the movie at this point as well. Like you started doing something, and then while you were doing that, I put on the classical music that was on in the movie.
Debussy.
Yeah, Debussy. It was Arabesque by Debussy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know this bloody song.
And
then they went like, when it's so, they did Debussy dirty in this movie. Like they had his music playing in the background, and then when Doc was talking about all the classical musicians that he like, the pieces that he learned, he didn't mention Debussy. Like, what the hell?
You think any guy liked Debussy, you'd think Doc would like Debussy. You know what I'm saying?
I guess he doesn't like Debussy.
What are you gonna do? But yeah, I think Tony's writing another letter. You got a bit of a travel montage. And it's just the guys being dudes, just hanging out, and you driving.
You cut to Dolores as well.
Yeah, you cut to Dolores, and she's getting letters, and
she's reading the letters out to her friends, or like in-laws or whatever, and they're all swooning over the letters.
Yeah, they're like, why don't you write me any letters? I want a letter. Yeah, because Tony's the freaking man now.
Oh yeah, music show montage.
Music show montage.
Yeah.
Travel montage.
And then it's the applause that you were talking about.
Is it?
Yep. Because I wrote it down because I thought it was really cool. Because there's applause from the show, and the applause transitions into like the white noise from Rain.
Yeah.
And I thought that transition was nice as hell. Like, it was so good.
Okay.
And they get pulled over by the cops.
And he goes, your mother's ass. And he's trying to wipe the window. So you can see and shit.
It's amazing what you take notes of and what I don't take notes of.
But yeah, they get pulled over, and the freaking cop tells Tony's like, step out of the car, please. She's like, what'd I do? He's like, just step out of the car. And he starts questioning him. And the officer to the other officer is like, wake that guy up and get him out of the car. And Tony's like, nah, don't do that. He's like, just get him out. Yeah, and they're being real rude, real racist, or at least the main cop is. The other cop seems like he's probably like a decent guy, but just like a little bit of a...
He's just following orders sort of deal.
Following orders, yeah.
Because he's like, hey, are you sure? Like, he's got his papers. And he's like, get him out of the car. And he's like, get out of the car.
Yeah. Yeah, just doing what he's told. And, not really thinking about it, I guess. And
yeah. Because they're like, both out. They're saying it's a sundown town.
Yeah.
They're like questioning why they're on this specific road, and they've got a curfew. And then the mean police officer, he drops the N-word.
Yeah, he calls Tony the N-word, and with the hard ER. And then Tony punches him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they're in jail now. And Don's in jail too, even though he didn't do anything. It's just more racism. And it's like, yeah, I want my call. Let me get my call. I need to make a call. Let me get a call. Because I have rights, And then the kind of good cop just following orders like, he is right. He does, have them rights. Like, which is just a crazy conversation to have. Be like, he does actually have rights, actually. And then, yeah, Don chews Tony out. And he's like, you can't solve things with violence. You just gotta be the bigger man. You can't get to their level and shit. Essentially, he's like, look where you got us now. We're gonna be fucked. We're fucked. Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, violence and dignity, and Doc got his call. He called a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then while they're like squabbling in the cell about violence and dignity, in the background, like the office gets like a call, and and the police officers are sort of like talking.
I think it was from the mayor. The mayor got a call from the attorney general.
It was the governor.
The governor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the governor got a call from the attorney general.
Yeah, because the governor calls, and the chief at the police station was like, "Who's this? What?" And then he's like, "Oh, sorry, Governor, I didn't recognize your voice." "Yes, I recognize it now." Like, he starts groveling.
Yeah. Silly guy, silly fat old man.
Yeah, and you get when they're in the car on the way out, like Doc and Tony. He's like, I can't believe he called the Attorney General, which is Bobby Kennedy at the time.
Yeah, but
they argue in the car.
Tony's stoked, but Don is not pleased, and they start arguing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really feel like we could do this scene super justice, so we'll just go over it. Although, like,
Yeah.
it's just a good scene, man. This is a really
very
good
good scene.
Very good scene. Very weighty and emotional, and you really feel for Doc, and you kind of get some perspective. Tony says some kind of outlandish shit, but like, kind of like it's making a little bit of sense. It's like I'm blacker than you. I know the music. I know the food. I know fucking this, that, and the other. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
You're barely even black.
And Doc snaps.
Yeah.
He's like, he tells him he orders him to pull the car over.
Yeah. And he finally pulls over, and Doc just gets out the car. He starts walking away. He's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I don't know." He just keeps walking. And it's like, if I'm not black enough and I'm not white enough and I'm not man enough, then what am I? And it's very, 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 very good scene.
Yeah. He just feels so alone, and he doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere. And he's like just very agitated and vulnerable. And this was one of those scenes where my notes are really shit because I was way too sucked into this scene. Like, I forgot to take notes because the movie was too good.
Yeah, I just wrote down that part because I feel like that's I guess that's the main gist of what they're trying to get across.
Yeah, I think we paused and we had to like catch up on the notes.
Yeah, I think this scene is better watched and not talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the doctor's schmeepy after that. He's a bit schmeepy. So they sort of like he has a little sleep.
They sort of like make up a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you get the feeling that Tony just kind of he understands the doc a bit better now. He kind of cuts him a bit of slack. I think they stay together in it was a coloured inn, like for coloured people, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tony does this thing where he like aggressively flicks his ear, like puts his finger in his ear and goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wrote that down because I thought it was funny. But Tony can write a freaking mean letter now because the doctor's like, "Let me see your letter." He's like, "Thanks, but no thanks. I think I got it now." And he shows him the letter, and he's like, "That's good." And Tony says, "Thank you." And then he's like, "You should write your brother a letter." He's like, he knows how to reach me if he wants to connect. And Tony's like, I wouldn't wait. The world's full of lonely people, too afraid to make the first move.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
And then they're like, we should probably get some sleep. And then he's like, wait, Doc, can I ask you something? Or he's like, can I tell you something? That Pittsburgh thing was a real letdown. And I just thought it was so good. The comedy in this movie, it's pretty peak. It just comes so subtly, and it just kind of like gives you a big punch in the gut. It's like, nice.
The comedic relief doesn't feel like cheap, like it does in some movies these days. Like I think that was a big complaint with the Marvel movies. Like
Daddy's Home 2.
No, it wasn't funny. There was nothing funny about that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, there was maybe, the hot cocoa was good.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It feels cheap. It doesn't feel earned. They're just rapid fire jokes, and none of them land.
Yeah.
But these jokes, they're like
you already feel vulnerable.
So well they pay off so well. Yeah. I think this is the final show. I think they pull up, and the guy greeting them, which I think is the owner of the establishment, is super friendly. Initially, he's like, this is your very own spot at the very front. It's like right in front of the building. And they're like, oh, sweet. And then they get to his like green room or his dressing room. It's literally a supply closet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, it's very. I think they're both a bit disappointed at this point. They're just like, oh my god, that's just terrible.
Yeah, like it's the whole sort of like Southern hospitality, like show and dance and stuff, and how they're like just super nice, and then they just immediately dehumanize you by putting you in a supply closet instead of a real green room.
Yeah, Yeah, it's disgusting. But then he's like, do you want some food and stuff? He's like, yeah, I'll get some food. Or just let me get dressed and I'll meet you out there. And they're like, okay, cool. So Tony sits down. I can't remember if he's eating or not, but he's just sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
Oleg and George come up. Oh, yeah, he's eating. What am I saying? Of course he's eating. Oleg and George rock up and they're like, hey, 3 shots of vodka. And they fucking have, the guy goes to get some vodka. And they're having a chat about Nat King Cole. I can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was a story of Nat King Cole got beat up real badly for something. And then Oleg says, just for being black, obviously. And then Oleg says, genius is not enough. Takes courage to change people's hearts. That's what he says that because before you ask me why the doctor does this, and that's why.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it because he gets paid good or because people treat him nice, because he does it because he wants to make a difference. He wants people to change.
Yeah.
See him and people like him, people with his skin color as people.
Yeah. And you get the feeling that the boys in the trio, they have accepted Tony into the circle now.
Yeah. Like he's got good intentions, as crass as he may be.
And then you go, I'm eating food.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so after that point they cheers and they drink and they Shirley rocks up and he's refused entry to the restaurant and says and they're like, sorry, you can't eat here. He's like, if I don't eat here, I'm not playing tonight. And Tony comes up. He's like, whoa, what's going on? And it's like, they're saying I can't eat here. He's like, but he's playing here. You know who this is, right? He's like, yeah, sorry, can't do it. There's nothing I can do. And then the owner comes back. He's like, whoa, what's going on here, guys? What's going on?
So the owner's saying how it's a club rules, and he's trying to make compromises with them. He's like, well, maybe you can go eat somewhere else, and then come back.
Yeah. Tells him about the orange bird down the street and stuff. Yeah.
And
I think he pulls Tony aside, tries to buy Tony off.
Yeah.
It's like, what's it going to take to make him play? Like, we both know he's going to play. Yeah. And then Tony it makes Tony upset, so he gets aggressive. He, like, pushes him against the wall, like, breaks the wall a little bit. And
because he's like, you know, this upper class person is, like, belittling him and saying, you know, you're lower class. You'll take it if it's enough money. Like, you can be bought.
Yeah.
And then Doc, like, interrupts and he's like, no, Tony, it's fine.
Yeah, don't beat him up. I'll play if you want me to.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here, mate. And then they leave. And
the dude fucking cusses them out, like, the whole time. Like, as they're, like, walking out, you know, he's changed his colors. He's yelling about how, like, you know, this is, like, you people are, like, unreliable. Like, this is why you get treated the way that you do, blah, blah, blah. Just, like, real victim blaming shit.
Yeah.
But I did like this scene because, like, Doc finally stands up for himself. Then he sort of stands up for Tony as well.
Yeah.
And you know, they make the decisions together, like, in this moment. He's like, when he says, you know, I'll play if you want me to. And Tony, you know, they're a team now, like.
Yeah, they feel the real sense of camaraderie. Like, they're buddies now. They've been through it. They know what they know. They fucking know, right? Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's go to the fucking orange bird. Oh yeah.
And this is a big deal for Tony as well, because he will not get the last half of his payment if Doc misses a show. So it's sort of like a little bit of a test for Tony. From Doc, like, he wants to know how much Doc's feelings and, like, sort of mean to him. Like, what does he care about more? Does he care about the money, or does he care about standing up for his friend?
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, because Tony's he's a great guy. He stands up for Doc. They get the fuck out of there and they go to the Orange Bird.
Yeah, they got some drinks, they got some food, and they got a couple of looks. They're like, what are these guys doing in here? There's a white guy and a black guy in a tuxedo. And then they get asked, and they're like, what are you doing? There's like a bartender lady, and she's like, why are you dressed so fancy? He's like, I'm the greatest pianist in the world. No, that's what Tony says. Tony's like, he's the greatest pianist in the world. And then she's like, all right, then play. And then he plays a fucking banger. I don't know what it was, but he was slapping them keys and he was going hard. He also flashed a fucking shitload of cash in the bar.
Yeah, because they get the house special, the Orange Bird.
Yeah.
I think he plays Chopin.
Cash. He'd play Chopin?
I think so. Probably. I'll have to double check.
Yeah. But yeah, he fucking slaps those motherfucking keys, and then they start jamming. He gets the band in on it, and everyone's jamming.
Yeah. I really like this bit because it really showcases how talented the actor is. Like,
yeah,
nothing gets like, grinds my gears more than when they sort of cut away and you can tell that it's somebody else's hands at the piano or on the guitar and stuff. And then when it cuts back to them, like, pretending to play, like, it's very obvious that they can't. But this man is so fucking good at piano.
He's crazy.
He's really good. And he really impressed me in Daredevil when he did the same thing, when he played Cottonmouth. Just one of Cottonmouth's little traits is that he played piano, and I had the same feeling then. I was like, man, it's so sick.
Yeah, he's a great player, and I love actually genuinely listening to him play. And that jam session, it kind of feels like he finally fits in. Like he finally feels like he like reconnects with his culture a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Doc's having an absolute great time. And he's like, I bet if we leave right now, we can still make it in time for Christmas. And then that's as they're walking outside, they said, I'll do that once a month for free. He had so much fun. He loved it. And then Tony ups the pole for real this time. He pulls that shit out and just lets three go in the air. He airs that bitch out, and then he saves them from getting robbed because silly Don flashed a big wad of cash in the bar. And then they try and make their way home. It's snowing real hard. You get a funny scene here where Doc knows that Tony still has the stone, so he's like, you should get your stone out for luck, Tony. We're gonna need all the luck we'll get. And Tony's like, you're a real prick. And then they're driving. And then they get pulled over again. Shit. The goddamn cops. And then they get pulled over. But the cop is a good cop, and they just had like a flat tire on the back. And then the cop helps them. He's like redirecting traffic and helping them get their tire on, and But after the flat tire, it's real late. Tony's real sleepy. He doesn't think he can do it. And intertwined with this scene, you kind of get like, you see, what's her name, Dolores, and the family, doing Christmas stuff.
Yep.
Hectic Christmas times. You see Dolores is a little bit sad that Tony's not there yet. Everyone's having good Christmas times, but she's a little upset. And then Don, the little sweetheart, drives Tony the rest of the way home. And it's like, Tony, get up. You're home now, mate. Get up. And then Tony gets up. He invites Don in, but Don's like, nah, I can't do it. I gotta, you know. And then there's not much in between. It's like, you sure? Come on, just come up, meet my family. He's like, nah. It's like, I gotta go. So Tony's a little bit sad, but
yeah, he says Merry Christmas. Like, he doesn't even say no. He says Merry Christmas, and then he drives away.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he goes. Tony's a bit sad, but yeah, he goes back upstairs to his family, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Tony's home."
Hey, bloody this guy.
And then they're like, "You hungry?" He's like, "I'm starving. I'm Tony." And then you get a pan to Doc, and he's at home. He's like, "Meat, you can go home for the Christmas, for the Christmas. You can go home for Christmas, man. It's all good."
Yeah, go home to his family.
Yeah, and it's like, "Thank you, sir." And he leaves, and
he's got Tony's rock.
Yeah, Doc's got the rock, and he pulls it out, and he's looking at it, and he looks kind of sad because he's alone again. But and Tony's a little quiet back at home. He's like, I'm just tired. It's like, he take care of that thing, because we forgot to mention this way earlier, but Tony like pawned a watch off to like try and make ends meet after he said he didn't need that job from the mafia guys. What was his name? In the little intimate box with 4 giant. Yeah.
I don't think they. Oh, it was Augie.
Yeah. I don't think we mentioned that, but yeah, he got his watch back. And then someone says, I don't remember the term. It was not. It was like a bad term. It's like a slur, essentially. But he's like, hey, just don't call him that. And they're like,
oh yeah,
okay.
Like referring to Doc. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, so how was the guy? But they didn't say the guy. They said some a little bit unsavory, I think. I don't know the word. Don't know what it means.
It's all right. We can move past it. You've said it like a bunch of times.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Then Charlie, the guy from the pawn shop, comes over because of before, and then there's everyone saying hello. They're like, yeah, blah, blah. They're like, and then Tony goes to close the door, and then he goes, Don.
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah, Doc came.
Yeah, I wrote squabbling at the table, and there's a knock at the door, and you think it's gonna be Doc, but it's old people, and you feel like you're let down because you wanted it to be Doc, but then it's Doc.
It's Doc. Get him a plate. They're saying, get him a plate. And Dolores and Don finally meet, and there she's like, "Thank you for helping him with the letters," and he's like,
It's
"Thank
like a secret,
you for."
though.
Yeah, it's like a secret. Shh. But she's like, "Thank you for sharing your husband with me." And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. They have a nice time together, and then at the end, you get a little wrap up about Tony and Dr. Don Shirley, what happened to them after the events of the movie. And you see they were friends. They were friends until the day they died, and they died very, very shortly, within a couple of months of each other. And
Yeah, it was within a month. Yeah, they died in 2013.
Oh dang! Yeah, and Tony became maitre d' at the Copa, so he went back to work at the Copa, and Dr. Donald Shirley was doing other stuff. I can't remember exactly what it was. And yeah, that's it. Finito. Probably shouldn't have put this away yet. Hey.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't open the drawer while you're talking.
Ah, shit.
To get some, clean audio.
Sorry, I didn't realize how loud it was. Got the headphones on, I can never tell.
Basically, if you're talking, try not to do anything else. Then once you finish talking, you can do it.
Okay. Do you remember? Do you remember what I was saying?
No, it's all right. Just leave it in. It's a bit of audio texture. It'd be fine.
Yeah, mix it up a little. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, I guess I gotta try and guess your favorite bit now, hey?
Oh, you can bloody try.
Okay. Um. Okay. Well, for the favorite thing, I guess I have two. I'm gonna say they're like not black enough, not white enough scene, or maybe the German thing because that was really funny. I would think we were having a good giggle at that when that came on. As for the least favorite thing,
well, let me.
Sorry, you go.
Let me rebut.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it.
That's not it.
So, but you know, you're on the right sort of track there. Like, my honorable mention was like the dichotomy of how like neither of them sort of fit into the class of people, like the upper class.
Yeah.
But my favorite bit was when it's the bit where like they're rehearsing on the stage and the piano isn't clean, and it's not a Steinway, and
Tony takes care of business.
He takes care of business. He does his thing, and like, you know, he's doing his job, and he's standing up for Doc at the same time. Like, sure, there's a little bit of his own sort of like standing up for himself in there as well, because he gets called a greaseball, but at the same time, like, you know, he really like starts to get upset at this guy when he like starts saying like racist remarks.
Yeah.
I just liked that he was standing up for him. I thought it was good. I liked it. That's my favorite bit.
Nice.
Okay.
As for a Leaf's favorite scene, I really wasn't sure. I'm just gonna say how like gross Tony eats sometimes, and like how greasy he looks a lot of the time. It would probably be a little bit off-putting. He just eats like an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so least favorite bit, honorable mention was that when I found out that they're dead, because I was like, oh, that sucks. I wish they were still alive. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But my actual least favorite bit was that I can't really fault this movie, but the only thing that annoyed me was that there was a lot of like foreign language stuff going on with no subtitles. And it's not a fault of the movie in any way. It's just a fault of like the streaming service that we just happened to be watching it on.
Yeah.
Because it felt like we were missing a part of the movie. Even though I could roughly sort of translate, it was hard because like a lot of these like American, Italian like period pieces, like I think it's like a different sort of dialect because it was before the standardization of Italian in Italy. So yeah.
Yeah.
The greasy eating, I can look past that. I'm a greasy boy. I'm a greasy eater.
Nice.
Okay. I've got a couple in here. I've got a lot of honorable mentions for your favorite bit.
I have a lot of honorable mentions as well for my favorite bits, so let's hear them.
Okay. The honorable mentions we've got is fill it out while you wait. Like the way that Amin says it to Tony at the start.
Fill it out while you wait.
And don't like the way I talk? Go take a shit.
Don't like the way I talk? Go take a shit.
Stationed in Germany in the army.
In the harmony?
Army. When it was Russian. That was close. You reround that one, so.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, that's absurd. I thought that was pretty close.
Pittsburgh, that's absurd. Yeah, that was a great scene.
But I think your favorite part was when Tony reveals he's got the rock, and then he holds an entire pizza in his hands for a midnight snack. Alex really liked.
That was hilarious. But unfortunately, those are not any of my favorite scenes or scene, I guess. You missed it. You missed the mark, buddy. It was the one I said for you. Not black enough, not white enough. I feel like that scene was great. That scene was great, and no matter how funny those other scenes are, I feel like how it's just well acted and how much pull and like weight I guess I had to it.
Yeah.
It was just great. But my runners up were the German guy.
Yeah.
The chicken bone, and they're throwing the chicken bones out the window. I thought that was cute. I thought it was a real cute scene. And I thought when he drank the milk at the start of the movie, I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, all of those were great suggestions.
Yeah.
Great guesses, I mean.
Well, then I'm going to have to try and, if we're stealing, I'm going to have to steal the greasy one, like the way that he greasily eats everything, as your least favorite bit then.
Yeah, because I couldn't really fault this movie either. I just had to pick the thing I guess I liked the least about it. Which
you
was
leaked
probably
both.
Yeah. I honestly loved this movie, and it's not even that I dislike this. I still think it's funny. I guess that's the most upsetting thing to me is how greasy he looks sometimes and how loud he breathes and eats. And sometimes when he's really full, he goes, oh, and rubs his big belly. I don't like that. Yeah. It reminds me of like, like feeder,
Dad?
like shit. No, like it reminds me of like feeder or like inflation type shit where they rub their bellies and they're like, oh yeah,
What?
just real weird shit. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
You don't know what that is?
No.
Where people try and get as fat as possible and they try and eat as much as possible and they get all fat and greasy and gross.
No, I've never seen that.
It's like a fetish. It's like a fetish.
Oh, God.
The internet has ruined my brain, so I see a guy just pig out and feel all bloated and shit, and it just makes me feel gross.
Oh.
I don't like looking at it.
The storm's coming. We gotta wrap it up.
We gotta wrap it up.
We don't want to lose the recording.
What was your thingo? What's your rating? What do you rate this movie out of 10?
I give it a 8 out of 10. I think it was really good. The only thing that I could say about this movie that would take it any higher, like that's preventing it, is that it's predictable. Like you know the beats of the movie that's gonna happen, and that's hard to avoid when it's a true story. Like you want to hit all those beats and stuff, but there wasn't a lot of like subverting my expectations. In this, I thought that this movie, it was very good. It hit a lot of marks really well, and it told the story really well. But I still felt like I knew what was going to happen in this movie. Like,
yeah, those are some great points.
I felt like I knew the outcome. There was no point where I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna be friends at the end?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I think that's very valid. And then it's a hard thing to avoid, especially when it's a true story.
Yep.
And I don't feel like it takes away from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the movie was really well written and just great overall. And I think I'll give this movie a 9 out of 10.
Very nice. Very nice.
Me. Very nice. Very nice.
Average rating 8.5 out of 10.
Oh yeah, baby.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Alrighty. What are we bloody watching next week, mate?
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh shit. You better be quick. Storm's coming.
I bloody know. I've known like for weeks. For weeks and weeks and weeks. Yep. Yeah, I've been on a real tear of like terrible movies, and you know what? I've had enough. Even though we just watched a good movie, I would like to watch a movie that's probably good. I haven't seen it. We're going to
Okay.
watch Meet Joe Black.
Meet Joe Black. Okay. I've heard of it before. I have no idea what it's about. All right. Let's do it. Next week we're watching Meet Joe Black.
Hell yeah.
Joe Mama.
I'm excited. I've heard good things. And I know like a very, very basic premise, but really not that much. Like not enough to actually know anything about the movie. So
Okay.
I think
Well,
it's got Brad Pitt in it, and I like Brad Pitt.
Okay. Brad Pitt's a pretty good actor, eh? Brad
Yeah,
Pitt's a bloody good actor,
he's
eh?
he's pretty good.
He's pretty good, eh?
So bloody, if you want to have like a nice feel good time and watch a decent movie, watch Green Book.
Yeah. Good time. Good times. Make you feel something. Make you feel bad about yourself and good about yourself. How about that?
Yeah. Give you some nice white guilt.
Yeah. Well, damn, this is going to be a long episode. It's going to be longer than Baywatch.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more talking and a lot less cutting in this one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we had a couple breaks.
That's true.
Alrighty. Get us out of here. What do you... Hey, wait. Do the thing at the end.
Bye.
No, what are you doing?
Bye-bye.
No, leave us a rating.
I'm just pulling your leg. If you liked this episode of Who Watches Us and you enjoyed the Green Book, let us know down in the comments below. Give it a like on Spotify or something. I don't know. That helps. Apple Music. I don't know what you do on there. Apple Podcasts, sorry. I don't know what
you rate.
there.
You rate and review.
You rate it. Rate and review. Subscribe if you want to.
Yeah, only if you want to.
Only if you want to.
Yeah.
It's not a must. If you want to, help us out, do it. If you don't want to help us out, do the opposite. Try and take us down. I fucking dare you.
Yeah. Try. You can't stop us.
You can't stop us. We're going to talk about movies.
That's not true. You can absolutely stop us.
Yeah.
We're weak right now. We're weak and feeble.
Oh.
Please.
Alrighty.
No. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh. Don't like the way you talk. You can go take a shit.
They don't like the way I talk. They could go take a shit. They don't like the way I talk. Go take a shit.
Don't like the way I talk? Go take a shit.
Like the way I talk. Go take a shit. Your mother's ass.
Hell yeah.